broken up?
Three times.
3 times. What have been the reasons that you've broken up?
I would say, me personally, it's the cheating and it's the ignoring.
Hey guys, and welcome back to Little Black Book. Little Black Book, you know what time it is. We're going to give you guys a review on Love Goals episode 4. If you're new to the channel, make sure you like, share, subscribe. Click on that bell button for the notification of the what? Uploads, baby. And for those of you returnees, you ain't got the minerals. You ain't got the minerals. Yes, baby. Agege, are you mad? Are you mad? Let's get into the video. We're going to talk to you guys about Mimi and Coolio, because I thought it was very, 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 very interesting. There was a lot of things that I found quite profound. So obviously we first get introduced to them when they come into the group, and what I found interesting was the way they position themselves. All right, the very first thing is that we see Coolio sitting down and she's standing up, and she's kind of leaning on something to rest. Now, let me be very, very honest. I thought that was a perfect picture in terms of their relationship.
I want to do, and I often do it. So she don't like that.
I was unfaithful because I was raised like that. I mean, my
reason being, this should have been a case of where he says, listen, Mimi, sit down, I will stand up, right? But there's none of that chivalry. And I'm not expecting guys to be completely chivalrous, but they're just things that are just caring things to do as a relationship, especially as a man, yeah? Like, you come into a public gathering where you know everybody else. Like, most people know you. Do you know what I'm saying? You're Coolio, right? And so, when it comes to sitting like that, you don't need necessarily to sit down. You know, you could have let Mimi sit down and you stood up. But instead, Mimi's standing up and he's sitting down. And in fact, Mimi's actually peering over onto him. Now, oftentimes in drama, you know, we talk about these stuff all the time, levels often show power, right? But because of the setting, yeah, and he's sitting in a chair, sometimes that role looks reversed, because oftentimes what you'll see is the boss will be sitting in the chair and the secretary will be standing behind the boss, because a chair represents the power. Whoever sits in the chair has the power. So when I saw him sitting in the chair and Mimi standing up, I said, although she's standing up and she looks taller in levels, she actually isn't in control here. Do you understand? And I thought that quite interesting, because consistent of their relationship, he's cheated 3 times or more, or 3 that's been caught anyway, and they've broken up after those particular incidents. So that was quite interesting for me as well, in terms of his consideration for his partner, because I don't think his mind is still there just yet. It's interesting as well because, you know, cheating men, I told you about cheating men. The flip side of it is that they don't tell you about. It's the dark side of what happens. When you cheat and you cheat consistently, your own trust for other women reduces.
I grew up around my aunties and my mom, and, you know, and they was cheating. They was, you know.
Because a lot of people that you're probably cheating with aren't also single. This is the whole point. And so what happens is it's a vicious cycle, because now you can't fully put your trust in that individual who you're dating or you're married to. And what happens is the circle comes around. Because you can't trust them, you go out again, because what you're trying to do is self-defense. A lot of these serial cheaters is self-defense. Now that probably sounds a bit mad. What I mean by that is self-defense mechanism against being attacked first. So often we all have our own self-defense mechanism. There's so many of them, right? But what happens is a lot of times with guys, when they cheat and they're serial cheaters, what they tend to do is try to get in there first, and they don't even realize they're doing it. But because they're wounded from the past, something in the past, they're wounded and they've not healed. And what happens is when I press that button or pressure is applied to that area, ow! What's your instant reaction? If say like there's a wound here and I press it, your instant reaction might be to hit out. And this is what men are doing. Yeah? And the reason why they're hitting out is because they have the ability to, number 1. Number 2, they are in a system which backs them. Number 3, that system gives them no accountability. Number 4, give someone power, and also give that person power, and that person who's and give that person power, and that person's also broken. You will see this type of behavior. Women would do this. Women would do the same thing at the same level we do it as, if they had the system on their side. The system does not allow for that. If a woman did what a man did, It's a man's world. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah. That's what we're saying. The system of patriarchy allows for men to get away with this behavior, so they do it. It's a bit like being an older brother, beating your little sister, your little brother, even though you might have gone overboard. You know, because you're older brother, when you tell your parents, they're going to believe you. And so the system gives you no accountability. And so this is why guys often thrash out in their brokenness, and why women often don't lash out in their brokenness. Do you understand? The reason being is because the system allows one to do so without repercussion, and one doesn't. There's one that doesn't allow that particular behavior. All right, cool. The reason I'm saying that is because I want to do a video very, very soon on men need therapy. We're going to deal with that, and I'm going to prove about this cheating thing, because we're going to hear about Coolio's past. It was interesting because I've never seen happen during that place when they were talking to the group. Mimi went. Because she was explaining about the reasons why they, broken up in the past and everything. She's like, obviously because you're Coolio, right?
You just get used to a certain sort of lifestyle. And
Yeah, he's Coolio.
oh, it's all my fault?
No,
Oh.
it's not all your fault, but...
And as she did that inverted commas, you're Coolio, what she was actually saying was that, obviously, I know that you're famous, I know that you get around, I know people love you, obviously because you're Coolio. But what she actually said is, listen, I know you're Coolio, but to me, you're not Coolio. To me, you're just Coolio. You understand? Like, you're not anything more to me than what you see out there. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're a normal person to me. But when you're out there, you're Coolio. Do you get it? Meaning that you're somebody to them beyond a normal human being. You almost become like a god to them. Do you get me? Whereas to me, you're a normal mortal. Do you see what I'm saying? So when she did that, it was very interesting because the reaction by Coolio was so funny. He literally turns and goes, "Is that my fault?" Coolio, when you're cheating, yes, it is your fault. Regardless of whether these girls come to you, regardless of whether you go into a hotel and you see girls lying naked on the bed, I get it. Your temptations may be slightly different to a normal man. Don't get twisted. But at the same time, you're 50-something and you're still doing this, cuz. Now, I'm not budging, because this is not about bashing people. It's about getting us to understand and learn, okay? If you're 50-something, still doing the same thing, saying you don't want to do the same thing, there's a term which says, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results, is insanity. Because it's not going to happen. You understand? So you need a change of input to get a different output. And so what we see with Coolio is that you don't want to be in this place. But because you can't identify the wounds that are causing you to act this way, you're unable to change the behavior. Do you see it? No matter how much you desire it and want it to happen, because you're refusing to deal with the wounds, you are going to come here. You're going to end up here, cheating once again. And so when he turns and says, "Oh,
it's all my fault?"
No,
Oh.
it's not all your fault, but...
it's not my fault." That accountability, that lack of accountability is why you're here, bruv. Your inability to see that the reason why you are here is because you think you're Coolio. You revel in Coolio. Because it's a source of power. It's a source of covering up your fear. Because a lot of times I told you relationships are about control and power. And a lot of people are trying to wrestle their power. So some things have happened in the past, and what you're doing is you're covering it up with certain actions because it's regaining your power and control over some emotions that you're feeling. And that's why Coolio is here. And even when he said that as well, interesting enough, watch Sunday's face. Sunday's face is almost as if like she's thinking, I hope this is not me and Bravon in a certain amount of years. Like, that's her face. Her face was like saying, this better not be me and Bravon in a few years. Because she's in a similar position. She's with a guy who likes women and is struggling to tell the other two women to get lost. You will be in the same position Sunday. And you're thinking about it. They've been together for 8 years, Coolio and his girl. And he still can't stop cheating. Oh, man. They eventually had a meeting with Spirit. I think that was very interesting. I think that's where I thought it was very interesting. Because, again, I love body language. I love looking at what proximity and people are doing. Interesting enough, he was quite straight on towards Spirit. No turning, no incline, nothing. Yeah. But she was quite... she had her legs like slightly away from him, but her body was leaning in. So again, remember I told you about this with Teresa. We saw this with Teresa. We saw this also with who was it? Was it Sunday? Sunday as well. That the body lean. Yeah. So when we saw obviously Mimi, her body leaned in towards Coolio, even though Coolio did not respond. He kept his body very, very straight. right? And this is very, very important, because whenever we see that lean in, for me, when I see that from a relationship standpoint, I'm seeing somebody who is still invested in the relationship and is not totally independent from the relationship. When Coolio is so straight, it's because he's independent from the relationship. Even though he may like or love, whichever you want to call it, this girl, he is independent. He stays in his lane. He does what he wants to do. That's why he's straight on. That's why when they're sitting down, he's not leaning in, because he doesn't need to. He's independent. But as much as she may be strong, do her own thing, she leans in because she's invested in this relationship. She's not independent. She doesn't do her own thing. Do you understand? There's still consideration for him.
And make me this ideal monogamous man that comes home right before dark and gets up and helps with the dishes, and I just don't see that.
What was interesting, so before they went into the actual house, before they went into actual meeting with Spirit, Coolio said he's not sure if he's that type of guy that can come home before the lights come on, and be monogamous. You're not sure if you're that type of guy. Men need therapy. Men need therapy. Because what words should have been coming out is, I want to be the guy that doesn't want to cheat, that wants to come home. Because that shows desire. And desire is important when we want to see change. When you say, I don't know if I can be that person, I don't think I can be that person, right? You're anti the change. You didn't really want to see change. What you want is your cake to eat it. Because you're still wounded, you're still broken, you're still not understanding that you are broken, and a broken record still trying to play, but you're scratching and jumping each section of a song. But you're not deep in it. Do you understand? You're not deep in it. And that's why he said those words, rather than saying, actually, that's what I want to change. I want to be that kind of guy. And he's saying, Mimi wants that kind of guy. And I'm like, yes, she wants that kind of guy. Who doesn't want a guy who's faithful? You don't want your girl. And the funny thing is, you know this. You don't want your girl out there on the streets with other man. And for you to be able to say that, it comes to the fact that there's a distorted image of what you see of a healthy relationship. I said this with Althea and Benzino. I said, don't worry about them shouting, because at least they're communicating. But here, we see that with Coolio, him stating the fact that he doesn't know if he can be monogamous and come home before the lights on dark. This shows me that he has a distorted image of what a healthy relationship is, right? Because you can only do what you believe, and you can only and that belief forms into an action, right? Because we believe what we see, yeah. We accept what we see. We accept what we see, and we act out according to what we see. If I don't see a chair, I'm not sitting down. If I don't see an invite, I'm not going. Do you understand? So in the same measure, the fact that he's saying that he doesn't know if he can come home or not, he has not got the right image, which means something has distorted the image. Images are formed by words. When the words come in, they form the picture. Experience helps to form the picture. When you've gone through certain things in life, it forms a picture. A lot of guys have gone through, we saw this in Married at First Sight, guys who their parents have divorced suddenly become fearful of what? Marriage. Why? Because the image that they have is a negative one. And the same way, Coolio has a negative image of what a healthy relationship is. The same with Althea and Benzino. There's a negative image of what they consider to be a healthy relationship because of what they've experienced and what they've seen. Because you can only do according to what you've seen. This is why the Bible says, renew your mind. Because you can't act like a Christian, act like Christ, unless you have an injection of something that allows you to see differently. And because words help to form an image, I'm doing these hand signals on purpose so that you can get an image. Because words help to form the image, new words are needed to create the image. No words, no input, no change of image. The same words, the same image. So Coolio is in a place where at the moment, the image is distorted. The words that have come in, the experience that have been had is fuzzy. It's not making for a very good, clean image. And a lot of men are in this position. This is why it's very important. Ladies, listen to me very carefully. Having conversation with men is so key before you date them. You must form an image based upon what he's saying about his experiences. Without it, you will miss the boat. Without it, you will jump the ship too early and find yourself in a place that you shouldn't be. Let men hang themselves with the words they say. Let men hang themselves with the rope that they put around their own neck. Do not fill in the blanks. Let them fill it in. You know, you have to go against your own nature, woman, which is to add and to multiply. To stop and say, hey, he hasn't said that. Until he says that, I can't move on that. I can't move. No, can't move. He hasn't said he's gonna make me his woman. I can't assume that. Sorry. What are we doing here? Are we gonna be relationship or not? These conversations are important so you can find out what he sees. Does he see marriage? Some men don't even see marriage, but some girls won't even ask that question. Because they see a fit guy, sexy, talks good, educated, got money, jackpot. No, but he doesn't want marriage. Oh no, but he doesn't want kids. Oh no, but actually, he doesn't see marriage in the same way that you see marriage. Conversation. So key.
Assistance.
It was more like I already knew
Already knew what?
that she was mine.
And so at what point did you agree that you...
I think what was interesting, so when I was talking to Spirit as well, when Coolio made a point about the fact that when he was chasing, when they met, because she said obviously when they met, like she got out of there that party quick when she saw it was a rapper and Coolio. But then when he said obviously I always knew I was going to get her, her face does not smile. Let me tell you something. Women love when men say, I always knew from the beginning I was going to get you. I always knew it. It makes them feel excited. It makes them feel wanted and desired. Like they had it. Like it makes them feel like my ish was on point. So that's why you were liking me from jump. You understand? But she doesn't smile. Here's why. Because of what the situation they're in. If you wanted me from the jump, but look at the way you're behaving. That's not making me smile. Why would it make me smile? That doesn't make me happy. The fact that you saw me from the jump and look at the way you're behaving. If you had said this if you had said this and there was other issues rather than cheating, she could have smiled. She could have enjoyed it, but she couldn't because she knew the situation they were in. And so her eyes just look dead on. She doesn't smile. There's no facial expression, no change of posture, nothing. She's not interested because she's at the edge of her wits. It's either get this right or we're done. Hold on.
I don't like pushovers, because if I could push her over there, somebody else could too, when I'm not around.
Have you ever had an experience?
And then Coolio said, obviously, look, he doesn't want a girl that's a pushover. And I think that's quite interesting because obviously in scenarios where we're dealing with relationships, sometimes a lot of people say certain things, but they're not sure if they actually truly mean that. So he says he doesn't want a girl that's a pushover. But then later on goes and says, you know what, she doesn't listen to my leadership, basically. But you said you didn't want to push over. This is what happens. You don't want to push over. You got it. And, sometimes we pray for stuff and we're not ready for it. I'm one of those people. I prayed for a girl with a big back. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't finish the prayer by saying, God, I need a girl to also have this, that, and that. I get excited about a big back. What's wrong with me? You understand? No, because you're not ready for all of that comes with. There's other things that come with it. Are you ready for that? You said you want a girl that is gonna be strong because when she's out there, she can be strong, right? Because where it was coming from was a place of fear. Whew. Let me speak to somebody. Where he was saying that from was a place of fear. That's why he can't keep a consistent about how he feels about the situation, right? That's why he said, obviously, no, he doesn't listen to my leadership. There can't be consistency there because when he originally said he wants a girl to push over, it came from fear. It didn't come from a place of, actually, you know what, this is better to behave this way. And I'll show you how. He says, she asks obviously what, has women stepped out on you? Is that why you want her to be strong so that other men don't step to her? He says, yeah. My auntie and them, in the past were talking about man that they've slept with and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And that formed the picture that's created this image that is negative against what is a healthy relationship. And that then has spurned out of that. He also says, obviously, I want a woman that's strong. Why? Because what he wants is a woman that's not going to cheat on him. There is fear. I'm telling you, a lot of these guys who are serial cheats, they are small boys. They've not dealt with the wounds that they're feeling. They're acting strong, like they've got everything together. I do this as girl, I do this as girl, I do this, I cheat. You're chatting wasp, blood. You are a small boy. That's why you're acting the way you're acting. Yeah? It takes a big man to be committed. And you're a little boy because you're cheating all the time. Jumping up to shit. So you're 50, but you're not spiritually, you're not emotionally mature. Come on. I'm just being real. I'm not killing nobody. You need to deal with the wounds you got.
Other things going on at that time. My oldest son, we was getting into a lot of fights. And anyway, my son went to prison.
And it's funny because obviously Coolio then comes forward. And when he's getting deep, yeah, he comes forward and says, obviously, you know what? I need to obviously the reason why I didn't call her for 3 days because my son went into jail. I was in deep. Right? This is a man who's struggling. Look, don't get it twisted. I'm not saying this is not easy. It's not easy. It's easy. Yeah, your son goes into jail. You're not ready for that. I get it. But to crumble and to go and cheat and to move mad and to ignore your girlfriend for 3 days shows emotionally where you are. You're not a grown man. Do you see what I'm saying? A lot of these men who look like men are not men. And the only way to tell if they are men is to have conversation with them and see if they're Peter Pan or they are a grown-ass man. Because the Peter Pan will give you the information you need to say, hey, this is a small boy, he's not a big boy. Look at the way he sees life. That's not a big boy. Do you get me? So I think it's very important to see that. And so for me, he cheats to gain control. He cheats to keep the fear and suppress the fear down. That's why he does what he does. He feels safest when he's doing his cheating. And it's interesting because he wanted to say, obviously, like, you know, what's a strong woman? And he scratched his neck as he was saying it. And as he scratched his neck, I was like, it's a sticky issue for you. The fact that she's not listening. The fact that she doesn't follow your lead. Why would she?
Compromise and being diplomatic, but sometimes, as a man, you gotta say, okay, that we doing this.
Is that right?
Can't do that, yes.
You cheated 3 times. I'm not listening. I'm not listening, bro. You can't cheat 3 times. But then again, I'll say this as well. Your nature is your nature. Yeah? If you were going to submit, you were going to submit. If you weren't going to submit, you weren't going to submit. It's your nature, right? But I also say this as well. When women meet the right type of guy, they submit. The reason being is because they're made to feel safe, they're made to feel loved, they're made to feel desired, they're made to feel a certain way, so they automatically what? Submit. Like someone like Jocelyn, yeah, just needs a guy that will love her. But the problem is, even if she finds a guy that loves her, has she done the work separately to make sure that when she meets the right guy, that she's not going to think this guy is a dickhead? Because she's met so many dickheads, she's now at a point where she can only identify a good dickhead. Do you see it? I said Jocelyn from Love and Hip Hop. The reason why I said that is because I see some of her behaviours in it. But I understand why she behaves the way she behaves. So there's a lot of things like that where we say, look, it takes 2 to tango also. It takes 2 to tango. And I want to just end on this as well. During the challenge as well, when they were climbing up the pole, it was very interesting because they were both quite quiet. And again, he climbed that ladder very quickly, but wasn't really communicating with his wife. So the reason being, again, the independence. He's used to that. I want to keep you at bay. I want to keep you enough away so that I can do my thing, but just in case, so that I don't get hurt by you. I can still move mad. And if you move mad, I won't get as hurt as much because I've separated myself. Wounds. Alright, guys. That is part 1 review. Part 2, we're going to talk about Althea and Benzino going forward. So make sure you like, share, subscribe. Leave a comment down below. Hey, little black book, you know what time it is.